David Cage. Cinematic letterbox.
I was born with a strange gift. The ability to see what no human being has ever seen before.
Were you also born with the ability to start games with horrible camera angles and narration?
I need to remember. Put things in order right up to this moment.
And what better way to do that than by remembering your life out of sequential order, therefore making it difficult to understand how all the important events in your life relate to each other until the very end.
If I had to say how it all began, I might just as well start here.
Or you could start at the beginning where it actually began. This is an example of the rare double in medias res opening. First it started with Ellen Page narrating from the very end of the story, then cut to the scene happening somewhere in the middle.
I found you by the side of the road, in the middle of nowhere. Was there an accident?
Of course not. She obviously wanted to be in the middle of nowhere at night in the rain. Maybe you could give her a ride back there. Coffee cups are always the first thing to be thrown telekinetically in entertainment to let everyone know that supernatural shit is going down.
You've got to stop them. They have no idea what they're up against. Tell them to wait until I get there.
I see that Willem Dafoe studied to play Willem Dafoe for this game. Honestly, I think I've heard him have pretty much this exact same conversation over a phone in everything he's ever been in. Also, if this game is hoping to trick me into believing Willem Dafoe isn't the villain, then they shouldn't have cast Willem Dafoe. This guy could be playing Jesus, and I still think he's going to turn out to have been the bad guy all along. This is the most poorly lit police station since that one in the Terminator. Asshole SWAT captain who knows his target has supernatural powers has the town sheriff open the door where she is even though he has no idea what's going on and likely doesn't even know proper breach and clear procedure, and most certainly doesn't know what to do if supernatural stuff starts happening. See? He opens the door then completely blocks everyone's line of sight with his body. What if there had been something more scarier than Ellen Page on the other side? Or are you all just going to stand there looking at an empty door? Doesn't one of you have a flashbang? Why give her so much time to get ready? See? Should have opened that door yourself, along with all sorts of other things you should have done but didn't. Also, the town sheriff just stands and looks around at the carnage that used to be the SWAT team rather than calling for emergency services or even administering CPR. From the looks of this place, Jody just left. If Willem Dafoe wants to find her so bad, he could probably just drive up the road a little ways. If you're going to sample Sephiroth's theme music, then Ellen Page better be getting stabbed with a giant katana. Them's the rules. This cartoon looks way more interesting than this game.
Get me out of here! Get me out of here now!
Calm down, Kathleen.
Did no one think to warn this lady what she was in for with this test? All it would have taken was a, hey, there's a ghost and a psychic little girl in the next room who's going to knock some stuff over with her mind.
It's locked! The door's locked!
How do doors always end up jamming during tense situations? So the doors to both testing rooms jammed at the same time? How is that even possible? We were controlling Aiden the entire time, so he wasn't the one who locked them.
It's over.
It will never be over.
It'll never be over cliché. When you put the words Plan B next to Ellen Page, well, you just make me think of a completely different type of Plan B I'd like to have to use with Ellen Page. Hey, interested in who this guy is? Well, just wait till halfway through the game when they actually introduce his character properly. A party being held in an embassy in some vague Middle Eastern country is filled with men wearing traditional Islamic clothing, but not a single woman in a burqa or a hijab. What do you want to wager that if I go to Google right now and search for Ellen Page and toilet, I'll find multiple photoshopped images of this scene? What a surprise. Wouldn't the Sheik realize that someone has been rifling through his office when he finds his documents all over the floor and his safe open? The whole point was that he couldn't suspect a thing. Ryan even said so at the start of the mission. There was way more info in those documents that the 4 half sentences you scribbled down could contain, and you only filled out 4 pages of that. Hope whatever you were looking for was in the first paragraph. For no reason whatsoever, this guard decided to come into the women's restroom and bang on Jody's stall door like he knew something was wrong or was suspicious of something, even though the only thing he saw her do was go into the restroom at a party. White people dancing.
I was thinking you were completely nuts or something.
English guy uses the word nuts rather than nutter. This guy gets to touch Ellen Page's ass. Considering this entire game was green screen acted, that means he was actually copying a feel here.
It's a really rare collection. Poems by Edgar Allan Poe.
Edgar Allan who?
This girl has apparently never heard of eBay before, since she could very easily sell a rare book of Poe poetry there for way more than any of these other gifts cost.
I never wanted to invite her. My mom made me.
Yeah, she's a slut. A slut and a witch.
Jody just demonstrated not a minute ago that she has powers beyond your comprehension, and you want to gang up on her like this over a crummy gift? Have none of you ever heard of Carrie? Because this is how you end up with Carrie.
She's been following me around like a puppy all evening, begging for it.
Dude, you were already halfway into Ellen Page's panties, and you're going to throw that away just so you can be an asshole with your dumbass buddies?
Ah! Get her!
This just went from kids messing around to assault. No one who has ever played this game has ever chosen to leave and not take revenge. Shouldn't even be an option.
Don't be ridiculous. No one can move stuff like that.
You just saw her move stuff like that a minute ago. I'm starting to think this game started as David Cage's revenge fantasy against everyone he hated in high school.
The door, it won't open.
It's impossible. Try harder.
I'm telling you, it's locked.
What do you do when it's very easy for characters to get away from whatever scary shit is happening? Just jam the door. Training montage. Quick time math test. Ryan knows that trick that allows him to sneak up on someone from off camera no matter how impossible it would be for him to come from that angle without being seen. Cops looking for Jodie after she ran from the CIA stop her train to search it, but then the train starts moving again while they're still on it. Wouldn't the first thing you would tell a train engineer during a police search is, hey, make sure you don't move this train while we're still on it? How are they going to get back to their squad cars afterward? I haven't been on many trains in my life, but I'm willing to bet they don't shake so much that you can't walk without stumbling. The police were right behind Jodie a second ago, but then get stymied by an unlocked sliding door long enough for Jodie to break out a window and partially climb out of it before they catch up. I'm all for tough female lead characters who can kick ass, but I have to draw the line somewhere when it comes to suspension of disbelief. And that line is firmly right before 5'1", 106-pound Ellen Page beating the crap out of a half-dozen trained police officers who are a head taller than her and outweigh her by 50 pounds on top of a moving train during a rainstorm. This is the same SWAT captain we saw at the start of the game, which begs the question of how we ended up chasing Jodie across the country. Aren't SWAT teams local? Just shoot her! She's right there, limping. Why bother taking up formations? You're US cops, you're good at shooting unarmed people. This sniper even has a perfect shot on her but doesn't take it. This SWAT car drove 10 feet from a parked position into a hunting store, then explodes like Michael Bay blessed it.
Tell them to leave me the fuck alone, because next time, I'll kill everyone.
You did kill everyone. This is literally the only guy you left alive. I swear, these monkey with symbols toys only exist for horror movie cliches where they turn on by themselves. Mirror jump scare. This is a perfect example of where things would be scarier if I could actually see anything. Apparently being a psychic-powered kid turns you into a magnet that attracts assholes just so you have a reason to use your powers in front of everyone, ostracizing yourself even further. That's the third time in this game a door is jammed while scary stuff happens to Jodie on the other side. This is basically the indoor version of a car refusing to start. Put that guy on a stretcher and wheel him 5 feet to the right, stat!
Don't worry, I don't plan on dying today.
Said everyone who ever died on the day that they had no plan on dying on. Why does everyone who is barely clinging to life play dead until someone comes close enough for them to startle? It's as if everyone gets let in on a practical joke once they get to death's door. This dead scientist gets up to give Jodie a jump scare, but after she falls down, he's still on the ground where he was originally. Yeah, you can't jump scare with just paper. Now that's a man that is dedicated to the art of jump scares. He waited this long for someone to come by just so he could set himself on fire and scare the shit out of them. So caving his head in with a pipe, spearing his neck didn't kill him, but dropping a computer monitor on his head, that's his one weakness. I would really like to know what it is with David Cage and his fetish for making everything in a room try to kill someone. Logically speaking, Jodie should totally strangle to death here, but pathetically kicking your feet is somehow enough to free yourself from ghost-possessed electrical wiring. Before, one possessed scientist nearly killed Jodie, so you would think a whole bunch of possessed scientists would be certain death. But apparently they suffer from the same crippling weakness as ninjas, zombies, and pirates. The more of them there are in one place, the weaker they each become. This portal to the infraworld is so powerful that it can rip steel apart, but Jodie can somehow manage to keep from being dragged in by holding onto a flat surface. Actual fucking working payphones.
Was there someone close to you who died recently?
My wife? Nancy died of leukemia 4 years ago.
So Stan's homeless because his wife died of cancer. This scenario is inching this close to Sundance Film Festival territory.
Well, you've risen from the dead. Hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Racism. Why the hell is there a random chef's knife stuck in a tire under an overpass? Is there any reason other than to create attempted suicide scenes? It's been snowing all night, but none of that matters for these flattened cardboard boxes that should totally be covered in snow. This guy is reading a newspaper that has an article about the origami killer, who was the villain of Heavy Rain, meaning these two games take place in the same fictional universe, and more than likely so does Fahrenheit. David Cage is building his own game universe, even if it makes no sense that all these games take place in it. If Aiden can make ATMs and other machines spit out money, why is Jodie homeless in the first place?
They cut through the bone. Make it hard to leave you alone.
That's Ellen Page, homeless and playing guitar on a sidewalk for money. I don't want to hear anyone argue with me over the indie film nature of this game now. It was daytime when Jodie started singing, but by the time she finished one song, it's night. And she only sung like 2 verses.
Let's demonstrate how we deal with skanky, low-life bitches.
Even grown up, Jodie is still an asshole magnet just so the plot can have tension.
No, but there was 4 of them. Is one of you?
4 assholes.
See, even Jodie realizes it by now.
Yeah, those kids come down here looking for a one-way fight. You got them phones with the cameras and...
Except that they were using an actual camera and not a camera phone.
Jesus Christ, girl! We ain't got nothing here. Ain't got as much as a blanket, hot water. We got nothing.
Is any of that stuff actually useful for delivering a baby, or is it just what people think is useful?
Oh, there you are. Hurry! Her water broke!
Did you get into the building I told you about?
Yeah, Walter's there with her. Come on, we need to hurry!
The overpass you were camping under is just to your right, and the abandoned building is just over on your left, so you would have to go right past the supermarket Stan and Jody were robbing to get Tuesday to the building, which begs the question of how come Stan or Jody didn't notice you coming and going.
Leave! All of you. Except Jody. I just want Jody.
You want all three guys you've known for weeks to leave and the girl you've known for less than a day to stay and deliver your baby?
Okay, let me just help you get those off.
You know, on second thought.
Tuesday and Zoe are upstairs.
Get out of here, I'll go get them.
No, I'll come with you.
No, I'm going alone.
Three grown men leave Jody to rescue a woman and her newborn baby from a burning building. Falling debris has the best timing for dramatic tension. There's nothing but a brick wall behind Jody, but somehow this guy manages to come from behind and hit her in the head with a bat. Also, all four of these guys are apparently trained in off-screen stealth. Jody has coma flashbacks that adjust himself from widescreen to cinematic letterbox. And that's another jammed door.
It's just not fair! How come everyone can go and I can't?
Oh, we're at this part of her life story. Skip.
Please, Nathan, just this once. All the other girls in my class are going, and I won't be late, I promise, okay?
After you burned down the home of the last girl who invited you to a party, who in their right mind would invite you to another one?
Back off!
Come on, baby, you know you want to.
This attempted rape brought to you by the movie The Accused. Also, David Cage is in way over his head with this kind of subject matter. Also, Jody is still an asshole magnet.
Jesus! What the fuck are you doing, Sam? Open the goddamn door! Get out of the way, I'll break it down!
Another goddamn jammed door. I would ask how they knew Jody was at this bar since she didn't tell them where she was going, but they've opened nearly every jammed door in this game so far, so I guess they were just called to that out of the sake of consistency. This game has a Team Jacob. I swear though, if he turns into a werewolf, I'm done. I'll stop the video right there. So far this game has covered bad childhoods, invisible ghosts, homelessness, running from the law, rape, and now we can add living with Native Americans and self-discovery to the list. If David Cage keeps his pace, he's going to burn through all possible Sundance Film Festival movie plots. It was midday when Jody was invited to have dinner with his Navajo family, but before she's even cleared her plate, it's night out.
You value your life? Lock your door and don't come out until the morning.
And you're not going to give her any explanation at all as to why she'll die if she leaves her room. Why do ghosts always act like they know a camera is pointed at them and appear where the characters can't see them, but the audience can, even when they want to send a message?
There's a lot of work to be done on the farm. Maybe you'd like to stay on for a few days.
Yesterday, your son Jay didn't even want to let Jody through the door since your ranch is haunted by ghosts. Then Jody disobeyed you and didn't stay in her room last night, nearly letting the ghosts inside, but now you are totally okay with her staying on as a ranch hand for a few weeks.
You'll find some more clothes in Corey's room.
Corey has some explaining to do if that outfit was in his closet.
When I opened the door last night, I saw something. Pretty sure someone was outside.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's probably a dream.
You're still refusing to tell her anything? She saw a ghost last night and you even had to pull her away from it, and the best you can do is say it was all a dream?
How about if I started asking you questions? Where you come from? What you're doing here? You probably wouldn't like it, huh?
She has nothing to answer for. You're the one with the haunted ranch. I'd say the burden of truth is on you. Of all the places this ghost could have picked to appear, he picks the shower. This isn't a sin, by the way. I'm pretty sure that's what most men would do if they became a ghost.
God's sakes, Paul. What's going on here?
Just go to your room. There's nothing you can do.
Well, you may not be able to do anything about it, but Jody is white, and as the white savior, she can solve all your problems no matter how culturally or historically ignorant of your people she may be. David Cage only knows how to write one type of action scene. They always involve a character running frantically around an environment while everything tries to kill them, and the camera tries to make the audience sick. Giant Demon gets curious about the girl he's holding in his hand and stares at her long enough for her to get away, even when he could have just killed her.
You have to tell me the truth. You have to tell me the truth now.
It's Yeatso. He wants blood. That's all he's interested in.
You only tell her now after she almost got herself killed by going outside? If you would have just answered her very reasonable questions from before, this all could have been avoided. Instead, you played dumb and nearly got Jody and yourselves killed. These spirit guardians have been around for over a century, ever since they were killed by Yeatso, whom they summoned to kill the soldiers who burned their village. But in that entire time, they never bothered to show any of their descendants how to stop Yeatso. Instead, they wait for a white woman to show up to do the job.
Come on, start! Start already, goddammit! It won't start, Jay!
Oh, so the truck won't start. That's no different from a door jamming at a critical moment in my book.
If they brought the entity here, I mean, there's gotta be some way to send it back to its own world.
They used a ritual to open the passage. I still remember the incantation.
How do you know performing the same ritual that the Navajo used to summon Yetso will send it back? What if it just summons another one? This actually works. Chalk one up for the cause is the solution cliché. 6 shovelfuls of dirt is enough to fill 2 graves.
Why don't you just come over here for dinner tonight?
The scene before this one had Ryan coldly taking Jody away from Willem Dafoe to work for the CIA, and Jody wasn't exactly happy about it.
Listen up, Miss Holmes. I don't give a shit about your pathetic adolescent pouting, all right? You can rant and rave all you want, but you'll shut your mouth and do as you're told.
The very next scene has Jody preparing a dinner date for Ryan and hoping to get laid.
I happen to think Ryan is great. Right? He's charming, he's intelligent, he's funny.
Really? I haven't seen any of that from what little I've seen of him. He's barely even been in this game and he's now promoted to lead love interest over the Navajo guy?
Pizza delivery.
Cookbooks don't contain ads for local pizza places, or at least no cookbooks I've ever read. Modesty towel. David Cage only knows how to write one type of action scene, but the same goes for his romance scenes as well. It's always 2 people who have no chemistry and no reason to bang that end up banging.
Drunk driver. Wrong side of the road. They're dead.
Spider-Man! Sorry, don't know what came over me there for a second. Anyway, villain origin story.
Jamal Sheikh Sharif, one of the most dangerous warlords in the country. He commands a heavily armed militia, using it to control several important districts in the city.
Uh-oh, I think David Cage is trying to turn this into a Metal Gear game.
Salim.
Your name is Salim.
Salim.
Jody. Jody.
Jody?
Looking through my list of war cliches, this kid is either going to get caught in the crossfire of Jody's assassination mission, or will turn out to be the kid of someone she kills. Either way, they both add cheap blood on mine hands guilt to an already bloated plot. This kid, along with everyone else in Somalia, speaks Farsi. I should point out that Farsi is not spoken at all in Somalia in the real world. It literally changes from night to day over the course of a knife fight. How exactly does Aiden know how to drive? He's a spirit that can possess people's bodies. You can't make them talk while possessing them, so I assume he doesn't have access to their skills during possession. But driving and shooting are freebies apparently. Guns are useless in this high-speed chase. Send in the machete soldiers. What? Jody and Salim were in the bed of a truck that was racing at top speed down a road when it was flipped by an RPG. Yet somehow they jumped out of the truck without anyone noticing, including me, and I went frame by frame over this scene.
He's your father?
Fucking called it. Every single person on the street somehow knows that their leader was just assassinated, even though there is no way any of them could know that since Salim is the only other person who's seen it and he's still with the bodies. How the CIA knew where Jody was to extract her is beyond me since she never activated her GPS, which was the extraction plan they gave her at the beginning of the mission.
10 years in the CIA. Never seen anything like it. Boss sends his own private helicopter to get an agent back.
Ryan waited until they flew halfway around the world to say this, even though he was in the freaking rescue chopper.
Just announced its official recognition of the election of the new president, Jamal Sheikh Sharif.
Jamal Sheikh Sharif, one of the most dangerous warlords in the country.
And now, sources report that he and all his government were assassinated.
Convenient television reporting. Seriously, buy a cell phone. Jody reunites with her mother in a government-run psychiatric hospital where the CIA put her after drugging her into a permanent coma. If you thought I was going somewhere with this sin, then now you know how I felt when I realized this entire scene with Jody's mother and her mercy killing is just a convenient way for Jody to be captured by the CIA. Giant wall monitors, bronze statues, bonsai trees, marble floors. Yep, this room meets all the requirements for a villain office. What a surprise! This office belongs to Willem Dafoe. Just once I want to see Willem Dafoe in like an office cubicle rather than something so opulent.
Jody, do you know what would happen if a passage is opened? It'll be the apocalypse.
I get the feeling Willem Dafoe talks about the apocalypse a lot.
According to our intel, the Republic of Kazakhstan has discovered the existence of the Infilworld.
If you're ever writing a script and want to make an entire country antagonistic with minimal effort, just stick Stan at the end of the country's name and you have an instant oppressive authoritarian state. David, you are already jumping around the plot's timeline enough as it is. Do you really need to start the mission to Kazakhstan off with Jody and Ryan being tortured, then immediately cut back to the beginning of the mission before they even found the base? This is jarring as hell.
If you refuse to cooperate, I will have no choice but to kill you. Of course, I will kill you regardless.
Wow, you suck at this. Judging by all the leaves on the trees back in the US, it was either spring or summer, but for some reason this country's somewhere in Asia according to the mission map. It's the middle of fucking winter. Get your hemispheres right, guys.
I'm gonna go out. I'm desperate for a pee.
Don't go too far, okay?
It's -40.
You are risking your life trying to pee outside in -40.
They're here. I saw them.
Where?
On the main road.
None of these guys heard or saw the convoy of trucks that drove right by the house they're holed up in.
Tingsa!
Everyone in the fictional country of Kazakhstan speaks Mandarin for some reason.
I'll go with her.
What about us?
It's a two-seater. You stay here, you find us a way out. By the time we get back, there's a good chance we're gonna have to move fast.
The Asian CIA guy could pull off that disguise way better than Ryan. Just saying. Secret underwater base. Been a while since I've seen one of those in any piece of entertainment that wanted to be taken seriously. None of these soldiers notice that there are two very white people walking past them in stolen uniforms. Since entities from the infraworld can pass through solid matter, what's the point of having containment fields set up in hallways? They can very easily just go around them, except for when the plot says they can't, but that's a completely different sin. A portal deep underwater that links to another world full of hostile entities? I get the feeling I've seen this exact plot somewhere before. Jody should be dead or at the very least unconscious after taking a wrench like that to the head. I mean, she was knocked out by a rifle butt and nearly died after taking a bat to the head. You try nailing a person's hand to a cement floor with a screwdriver. That's going to take some strength.
You didn't think I'd let you down, huh?
Your job was to wait with the sub in order to secure an escape route. Why be an asshole and submerge a sub just so Jody will think you left without her before you resurface? And how would you even know when Jody is at the dock if you're underwater? Both of them should be dying of hypothermia right now.
Now, this is more important than the race to space or developing nuclear capability. We have discovered a new world. A world for us to conquer.
The military's plot to invade and control the afterlife against uncountable entities that they can barely contain, let alone combat, is given the flimsiest of justifications. It's more important than the space or nuclear arms race. For America!
Before you go, there's one last thing I'd like to ask.
And that's a signal for Willem Dafoe to reveal he's crazy.
That's not true! You're lying! I know they want to be with me again! I know they want to be with me!
There's that classic, angry, screaming Willem Dafoe I was waiting on.
I'm going to accomplish man's oldest dream. Nobody will have to die anymore. No one will ever be separated again. What are you talking about? The containment field. I'm going to deactivate it. The infraworld will spread through our dimension. Life and death, united in one world.
I know that for plot reasons, characters can't automatically suspect that Willem Dafoe is nuts, but I really think they should be able to see this sort of thing coming.
I'm sorry, you are on the list. My apologies. Go on through.
Just a second ago, he told you this.
Cole Freeman, I have level 3 authorization.
And then you said this.
Sorry, sir. This area is level 4 classified. You do not have the right credentials.
So regardless if Aiden typed his name into the computer while you weren't looking, you already know by his own admission that he shouldn't be here.
Clayton! Get me out of here immediately, Clayton! Agent Clayton, that's an order!
Consider that my resignation.
Consider that my resignation cliche. Even after all these years, it's still the laziest thing to say after punching your boss.
Ryan! Ryan!
Jody and Ryan enter the infraworld, and it takes all of a minute for them to get separated from each other by one bad camera angle. Willem Dafoe just sort of gives up at the end and is reunited with his family immediately after killing himself. Apparently, Ryan found his way back on set right after Jody finished her face-to-face with Willem Dafoe. Careful with those repeated lines, man. Too many and you'll be Shia LaBeoufing this scene out of proportion. Elysian Fields. Choose your ending. Ending A has Jody stay in the infraworld with all the dead people whom she loved. Ending B has Jody pick who she wants to have sex with. The condenser's self-destruct was supposed to be instant according to Cole, but that doesn't stop Jody from outrunning it. Jody is one of those girls who puts her underwear back on after sex. Getting laid brings Aiden back from the infraworld. Well, at least David Cage has the patience to wait until he gets a sequel to screw up his story, unlike in Fahrenheit where he did it at the halfway point.
Oh, mistress of the obscure darkness,
Bring forth your mighty power.